What is going on, everyone? Welcome back in here to the weekly Oregon Ducks live show. Well, almost weekly. We took last week off for kind of good reason. We had the post game show on Monday, so we kind of didn't feel a whole need to go on Tuesday immediately following.
No.
Plus, we had to soak in all the other games, and everyone had to enjoy that stuff. So, welcome in though. We have our normal people right now. We have Spaz and we have Derek. How are you guys doing tonight?
uh, yeah, I'm good, man. It was can't be you can't be much more happy than watching your greatest rival lose on the biggest stage possible. It's my heart's just happy today. It's a good day.
Salty. That's what you guys are.
Hey man, call it bitter, call it salty. I don't care what you call it, but I'm calling it happy. Thank you, Michigan. Thank you.
That wasn't a bold pick, but
finally getting it done. Now go fix our boy in LA, will you please? He needs a coach that knows how to run an offense.
Well, I was going to say now go find a new coach too, Michigan. Before we get into that, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Oregon season, a little projection, some news, all that type of stuff tonight as we get into this. Spaz is having the munchies, so he's going to be off camera a little bit. We've told him he can stop eating. He needs to stop eating on camera. It's disturbing.
He's making the people uncomfortable.
With the finale of the national title game, a moment of silence for the official end of the Pac-12 football. It is that time. It still hasn't set in. Every game it was like, this is like the last time we're playing this team for who knows how long. And it was like, it still never kicked in. It still hasn't.
No,
I don't think until we see the redo of shirts with like a Big Ten logo or the new uniforms with the Big Ten like official. It's not set in quite.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's going to set in until we hit the deeper part of the season. Even those like early October matchups for the first time, you're like, it's whatever. But once we hit the end of the regular season, we're talking about Big Ten championships, potential and whatnot. It's like that's the moment where I think it's really going to go, man. There is no more, today's version of the pack. whatever they're calling it now, the 2-pack, the
Pac-2, whatever they're gonna make it or try to do with it, but it's just it hadn't set in fully yet. It's just weird. Important. I'm sorry, Oregon State. I don't know if Connor's in here. I didn't see Connor or anything in here yet. He'll probably pop in and creep for a while. The Beavers are like man, they got absolutely destroyed though by this. I mean, all the players gone, the coaches are gone. Yeesh. Stuck with that renovation bill for the stadium.
It sucks for them, honestly. Like, yeah, I got a feel for them a little bit. I don't have to like their program. To not have empathy for kind of what they're having to go through. I can't imagine, you're going from the conventional Pac-12 to this Mountain West merger. Like that's one of those things where I don't think that's really going to hit them either until the season really gets going. And, the NCAA, they did a solid by still giving them a fairly easy track to a 12-team playoff spot. So, their program in itself, I would say, not quite dead in the water. There's a lot of ambiguity going on there, but there's a lot of moving parts that have to happen for the Beavs this coming year. And, it's fortunate they get to play some Mountain West opponents as opposed to, the Oregons and the Washingtons weekly. But, yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see how their seasons go, to say the least.
Yeah.
So here's my question. So if the Pac-2 or whatever the heck they're calling themselves, are they guaranteed a a spot in the 12-team playoff as a Power 5 conference if they've got 5 wins and 8 losses?
From my understanding, maybe someone in the chat can correct me. I think what they have, they're still eligible for these at-large bids. So I don't think they can get a top 4 seed where they're going to have, where I don't think the Pack is going to have a top 4 seed just because there is the 2 of them. My interpretation of what's going on is they just have, in theory, an easier track to one of those, at-large bids. So I think they can snag one of those. So say, an Oregon State finds a way to go 10-2. I feel like there's a good chance they'll get, 14 or, 12, 10 seed maybe.
I think also this offseason we're going to start seeing some stuff rewritten a little bit about the qualifiers. Because again, it was slotted for the top 5 Power 5 teams, like conference champ guaranteed. Well, one power conference is gone, technically, even though the name Pack's still there. So I think that would be more, they'd get an at-large bid, but they would still have to, win everything, pretty much. I mean, they can't be going 8-4, probably, or even 9-3, because you'll look at the Big Ten and SEC, and you'll probably be like, well, we'd rather take those 2 teams over that team.
And that's the thing, like they have an easier schedule. So in theory, you would think they have an easier track, but mind you, if they slip in the Mountain West, so say one of them loses to a San Jose State on a Friday night, I think the committee would probably look at that and say, are we really going to take the team who lost to a San Jose State? And that's not even, just them specifically. It's anyone in that conference for the most part, depending on how, their year goes respectively. I feel like their losses got to weigh so much more.
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, depending if they lose to, like, say, an 11-1 Boise State or something on the road by like 3, then you could be like, well, okay, not bad. That's not a bad loss technically, but yeah, I have a feeling it's not going to be like that type of situation. It'll be one of those literally like, you lost to who?
Right. Yeah, that's my thought.
Poor Beavers, though. Yeah, Beavers really got screwed in the end of this whole deal, even worse than Washington State.
I am super ecstatic, though, and on cloud 20 with everything that's happened the last couple of weeks with the guys committing to run this back again versus jumping or into the portal or going to the NFL. I mean, we are probably going to be one of the deepest, most experienced teams in the Big Ten next year, without a doubt. Because everybody knows Michigan's losing a lot. Ohio State's lost a bunch. They've gotten a few back in the recent days. But Maryland, Tua's brother left. All these other up-and-coming teams in the Big Ten have fallen off. We know Washington's probably going to drop off some. Rumors this morning that Kalen DeBoer still has not signed his extension, and it's been on the table for a couple of weeks. A lot of rumors that he may be jumping ship to an open possibility in the NFL if something comes up. So, I mean, a lot of twists and turns in the Big Ten next year right now are set up in Oregon's favor. If Harbaugh leaves, what's that going to do with some of their people? Because pretty confident that Harbaugh is either going to Atlanta, Washington, or the Chargers. The reason Washington came up today on ESPN because of the fact if he takes the Commanders, Redskins, whatever they want to call him's job, he's half an hour from his brother at that point. So, and he made a comment this morning on ESPN when they interviewed him about how much this title last night meant to him, because now it put him on the same level with his brother and his dad, and now all the boys in the family have a title, and he doesn't feel lesser than anymore, how he put it this morning.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, that's it. Next year is a whole different setting. Not just the Big Ten itself, but just all the changes we're gonna see maybe in the offseason. That's it, with some NFL jobs still open, some coaching news, like you were talking earlier. We'll get into that. Well, we can, since we're on coaching news, you were talking about Georgia. Again, I'm not concerned if Georgia opens up. For some reason, Kirby Smart moves on, which I don't know why he would, but if he don't. We said it before we got on here. I'm not concerned. Lanning's not going to go anywhere, I don't think.
Rumor is that Arthur Blank has a $25 million blank check in Kirby's name right now. He's making 10.25. He can go to the NFL. He's a guy that Kirby is a guy that has talked the last several weeks about, quote unquote, the ruining of college football. He's very aware that he's not thrilled with the portal and the nils and all the different switching and things that are going. So, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm already a little bit frustrated with the game and somebody offers me twice the amount of money that I'm making right now. Bye.
Well, naturally, and if something happened, I mean, he's going to get a job anywhere else he wants again anyway. So, but in the sense of that, we're talking about because of the Lanning connection to Georgia. Just, I think Derek summed it up pretty well. I mean, outside of at most Georgia, Lanning doesn't have extreme ties to anywhere. And everything he said, as we discussed too, is everything he says he's where he wants to be at Oregon. Like, we gave him the shot. He's taking advantage of it. They already gave him a contract extension last year. Again, we expect probably they'll give him another one, or at least a raise this year. Like, redo it with a raise, especially with partial Big Ten money.
I'm sure the New Year's Six win is there's
that's a nice bonus
for that. Yeah,
that's a nice bonus. I'm sure he has all the similar ones like a lot of teams do, where it's like bowl eligibility, 10-win season, division titles, conference champions, New Year's Six, bowl wins, etc., etc. And he's checked a lot of those this year, except for the conference title. I mean, he checked a lot of about 12-win season. Probably is another level, even, and he got that. So I mean, I won't be surprised if we see another 1 or 2 year addition with a raise.
Yeah.
No, I would expect the very same. I mean, I think one thing that we're seeing is the university, Rob Mullins, they love Dan, and I think they're letting him know it. They're giving the man the keys to the program and saying, do your thing, run it how you want it. And, the fact that it's been successful for the most part up to this point. And like I said, he says all the right things. We've heard things with Mario and, Willie Taggart.
Non-committal answers.
And that's kind of where I was heading with it. Is there like, I like my job. I'm here right now. Let's go win. And Dan Lanning's like, I love Oregon. I'm going to be here. He said it twice now publicly where he's like, I plan on retiring here. And, it's like, I understand that's another thing that people say frequently, but it's like, you almost feel it when he says it. And I feel like that's the difference. Maybe I'm setting us up to get our heart broken again. Who knows?
It's Derek's fault if that happens. It's Derek's fault. Everyone blame Derek.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Derek was saying, Kalen DeBoer has given the Mario statement like 3 times already. He's even admitted, there's a contract extension waiting for me to sign. Have I signed it yet? No.
he might, and not because he doesn't even want to sign it. He may be also trying to just push for extra money, and pushing the university to be like, hey, and I mean, you can't blame him. He's had 2 really good years at Washington, obviously. So
27 in 2 years, yeah.
I don't know what his contract is like, say, compared to Lanning, but I mean, his agent probably knows what like Lanning makes and goes, hey, Kalen should be equal, if not making more than he is.
Yeah, it's leverage.
Kind of trying to use leverage and the Big Ten money coming eventually, and so who knows? I'm sure it's mostly his agent trying to do shit. And
yeah, I mean, what I expect, I don't know anything that anybody else doesn't know at this point, but I expect Kalen to be back next year. I mean, just in my head, when I think about it, I have a hard time seeing him leave. I feel like the job offer would have to be perfect. Obviously he would have to, he'd demand a nice little raise if he's going to move on, because once again, I feel like he's got a very similar setup where, the Washington athletic department said, here's the keys, go run your thing. And, once again, it's been very successful to this point.
The difference, though, Washington does not have a president right now because their president took the chancellor job at USC.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So they don't have a quote unquote Rob Mullins at Washington right now.
And that could be some of the holdup then too. I mean,
sure. We'll see how that situation pans out before he signs his future.
But as the Lanning, like you said, they gave him the keys, and so far, like we said last year, when he took over, we were like, all right, let's see how this goes. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Every decision since then basically has been, I mean, you can say, well, going on 4th downs. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying in the sense of coaches, personnel, recruiting, successful seasons, technically, everything's been perfect. Like, way beyond, I think, what maybe we expected it could be, because we knew nothing about how he would do as a coach.
And you're looking at the number 1, if not barely number 2 at the worst, recruiting in your first year in the Big Ten. I mean, that says a lot when you're out recruiting Michigan and Ohio State and those big perennial Big Ten schools.
I think that says a lot about Oregon too as a brand, because of course we gave Mario a lot of credit for recruiting, and he does recruit. Mario recruits well. Well, apparently Lanning can do just as well, and all the coaches that he's picked, because even last year we were like, dude, if our defense is crap, Lupoy has got to go. Lupoy will be out of here. Well, we didn't have to worry about that this much this year. It was a huge, huge adjustment. But, we had Dillingham. Okay, cool. No problem. He leaves. Stein comes in. The offense gets better. I mean, like, how in the hell? And these are 2 guys that have never really been OC, like full-on OCs.
Yeah.
Handpicked by Lanning, and I'm like, all right.
Our receiver room is insane.
Oh, it is. Yeah, if we can close on Evan Stewart too, but the thing about that is Evan Stewart, he's got eligibility remaining as well. So what that tells me is that would push our scholarship number to 90. So we'd be 5 over. So what I think we'd definitely see then is when the portal opens back up, what is like April 15th or something like that, I would expect that we're going to lose someone in that wide receiver room. It's just, it's too crowded, and it'll likely be one of those younger guys, unfortunately. And, I feel like there could be a chance it could be like a Jury on Dickey type, that's nothing. I'm just saying that caliber of player could be moving on. There's going to be somebody you don't want to lose who's probably walking, and it's not, it's about the playing time and in the trajectory to the top of the chart.
It's possible. And I mean, Dickey he has not done anything, but we haven't gotten a chance to see him. But that's it. It's so deep right now. And yeah, like we said earlier, it's like we've had some transfers. Most of them have done nothing, like in the sense of actual playing time or contribution. But then we got with Spaz, I was saying earlier, the news this week was, and we were 50-50 on these people. Ferguson's coming back to the tight end room. Obviously, Herbert's coming back. I don't know why that was big news. I'm not shocked that Herbert's coming back. He would go undrafted at this point.
Yeah.
But Jordan Birch is coming back, and Tez Johnson is coming back for the wide receiver room also. So it's like
definitely the shock. I thought maybe he might go.
Oh, especially after the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, he put out enough of a performance in that game. I think he could have, but hey,
yeah,
come on back, Tez. Come on back.
Yeah, props to him, and props to Lanning and these coaches, getting these guys to commit and getting these guys to, okay, we got right there. Let's do the Michigan and let's go over the hump next year. Let's everybody commit one more year and let's do this thing.
Yeah, I mean that's a Johnny Cornelius too. That was the latest one to say I'm coming back, and that's massive. He's going to be on Dylan Gabriel's blind side. Unfortunately, he's got a fucking dude there. He was absolutely phenomenal all year, and that was one of those FCS transfers too, coming into a bigger program, and he absolutely thrived at the next level.
And I think that's not just props to one being the program that it is, the potential it has for the players here, but the coaching staff, obviously, Will Stein to keep these guys and go, and Lanning to talk to them and be like, nah, come back. Same as like Nick staying after last year. We thought maybe it was a one and done. And he's like, I'm going to come back again. We're like, okay, I come back. That's fine.
Yeah, we've never seen it quite like this, where it feels like these dudes are truly bought into this program. They're taking it hook, line, sinker, and absolutely and just running with it. Realistically, there's about 3 of those dudes who announced they're coming back, where I could see them being late round draft picks, and to give up their dream in all reality is most likely going on to the NFL, to give that up for another year of what they're building in Eugene it tells you there's something special going on there.
So as we reminisce, as obviously the off season is here, the long dreaded off season. This season was, I don't know. This is probably one of the least dramatic seasons outside of the couple Washington games. This is the least dramatic season. Maybe the Texas Tech game, in the sense of like, but everything else was like, we got this. It was like it only too smoothly. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Shit, it's good for my blood pressure.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. That is true.
I am truly happy about where this team went this year and how we bested what I think any of us thought this team was going to be. I was not sure about us even remotely competing for the Pac-12 championship, going to a New Year's Six bowl. There was just so many questions with the defense, and how was our receiving core going to come out this year? And both Tez and Troy Franklin, I believe, both beat the original reception record that Sammy Parker had. I mean, both of them with over 80 catches this year.
And Troy broke the receiving touchdown, receiving yardage. I mean, Bo broke almost every Oregon quarterback record. And that was our big one. The other two that we weren't sure about is one, Will Stein. We knew nothing about Will Stein really, outside of like looking at some UTSA stuff. But he was the co-OC, so he wasn't really only the OC, but also the O line. Not knowing how Cornelius would fit in, and then we were losing 3 or 4 guys. It was like, and everything went. What did they do? They gave up like 4 to 5 more sacks total this year than last year's O-line.
Yeah, I would like to see I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I bet it's got to be extremely comparable. Like the O-line was. I don't remember a game where Bo was sacked more than 2 times.
Yeah, I think he was only sacked about 7 times all year. And again, a couple of those were like scrambles where he was trying to run and he just got caught. Kind of like last year, one of the sacks, the first sack, I think was last year by Stanford. He was trying to scramble and they just caught him from behind or something like that. So it was barely a sack even, he lost like half a yard. But I mean, very comparable numbers and very good on any level. If you look across the college football world, I mean, you can't ask for a whole lot more.
Yeah, I'm with Tony. We need to see more results from our secondary. And I think next year, with another year under their belt and with some of the guys we got coming in from the secondary, the big transfer we got from, what was it, A&M?
Who are we talking about?
The cornerback transfer from
UTSA.
UTSA and the is my mind playing games with me? Did we not get the safety from Kansas State?
Yeah, so we got both Kobe Savage and then Cam Alexander. That's the guy from UTSA.
Yeah,
and he was the highest graded corner in coverage. In his conference, he was a first team all conference player last year. I think he won the Frisco Bowl MVP for those dudes. Just a few weeks ago. So
yeah,
he's a dude. He can play. Obviously, there's some meat left on the bone, and we got to see what he can do at the next level. But yeah, he can play.
Yeah, I mean, and if anything else, again, it's just another really talented guy to have on that roster in some position, and that's why I was like, pretty sure we got that safety. I was like, unless I'm literally just like totally blanking. There's just so many names flying around everywhere all the time.
Well, and Tysheem Johnson said he's coming back too. So, you have year 2 of Tysheem. And then Kobe Savage, he's definitely a plug and play caliber type of dude. I expect his play to translate really well into the Big Ten. I don't think he's going to. So I think we're going to get exactly what we've seen the last 2 years from him. It's just Tysheem's kind of that wild card where he has had some really good games, like the Utah game. He had 2 picks. And then he's had some really poor games, like both Washington games. He got toasted a little bit early on in the Washington State game, but he's kind of inconsistent. I would like to see what year 2's got going on for Tysheem, though. But I also wouldn't be shocked if we try to get another safety in the portal. I mean,
we did lose Reed, didn't we?
Nico Reed?
Yeah.
no.
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. I swore I saw news about that a little bit ago. I was like, that's interesting because he kind of came on late in the season. So I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
maybe it was just a rumor.
We lost Cole Martin out of the secondary.
Oh, Cole Martin. Maybe that's who I'm mixing up. The Cole Martin. I know we lost Bridges.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that was what it was. Cole Martin. My bad. Alcohol will kill brain cells, kids. So we'll be a Duck fan some days.
Man, ain't that the truth?
Despite the success or whatever people like to say, the relative success recently, still sometimes it's freaking give you a stroke.
I know. Just look at Spaz's text in the first quarter.
Spaz is the biggest goddamn drama queen ever. We should just post some of our game time chats during the game and post them as a short or something like that. And people will be like, oh my God.
Yeah, but what we got to do.
Spaz and Sean.
we got to post the chat what was said, and then next page has to be what actually happened the rest of the game, because 90% of the time it's like, I remember Stanford was another one where there was some unnamed members of our chat who were losing their freaking minds, and then by the end of it we're looking at 45-6 I think was the final there.
Yeah, it was like, and that's why, and I think most of the time I was like the reasonable one, where I was like, calm down. I'm
a happy medium. I when I get stressed, I pull out the chat. I can't say nothing crazy.
Yeah, you don't say shit. You just disappear.
I'm too nervous, man. I can't be focusing on that. I'm stressing out at the TV.
So what this year would you say is probably it's hard to pick. I was going to use the word as like the highlight of the team, but I think that's so vague because there's so many good options, like compared to even last year's team. Let's leave it at that.
The highlight has got to be the social media crew. Those
the us versus them.
The us versus them. Those were just dope.
Yeah, those were really good. Those are really good. Every one of them was different too. You guys have seen the Liberty one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of them are different. They don't just do the same format or same everything. They change each one in like their own little customizable way, and they are really good.
And I love how they get inside the coaches, the team meetings and the things like that. Just
the coach headset calls where they're talking to each other.
Yeah, it's the inside access we've had this year. It's like we've never had anything like this in our Oregon days. Like Chip, he wasn't letting anybody in practice. What a damn film crew. Mario said very much the same way, where he's like, you get your limited 6 minutes or whatever, and then the cameras are gone. Yeah, it's cool that Dan's like, you know what, fuck, come on, let's see. But I think he kind of realizes that like you can use that as a tool too. It's like don't think for a second it's just Oregon fans that watch it. Some of these recruits who are watching this shit, they're like, I want to play for that guy. You know what I mean? It's cool.
It is kind of cool. I don't know in chat or you guys too. Is do other team? Is there another team that you can think of off the top of your head that does a lot of the customizable game by game ones?
Florida State has one. They do a cinematic recap too, and theirs is pretty cool. It's you can tell there's two different styles with it. Theirs is a little more like strictly highlights, where I feel like Oregon's media team does a very good job of making it like truly like cinematic.
Yeah, it's more in depth. It's like a whole coaching experience of like, this is what it would be like to play in this game.
The whole weekly prep.
Yeah.
In 15 minutes.
It is kind of like Oregon just kind of being like, in a way, again, setting a tone to be like, we're ahead of you in this area. Mm-hmm. And that's now a media area, where it's promoting the brand and the program and the style and all that stuff. I really quickly, before it's going to escape my head, I swear to God, if I don't bring it up, that's the only reason I'm cutting it off for a second here. We saw a bunch of teams during the bowl season too, trying out different things like the headsets in the helmets. Mm-hmm. Did Oregon have any of that?
I don't know. I don't know if they touched on it.
They did not touch on it at all. I don't think that they did anything special in the Liberty Bowl or in the Fiesta Bowl, like trying earpiece stuff or anything. I don't think they did any of that. I think it was just traditional hand signals.
Yeah, I think because I feel like in the other bowl games where they were trying it out, like it was mentioned, it was talked about. I remember at one time they were kind of like showing it on camera what the new like little system looks like.
Yeah, and people would like then they'd go over and they'd have the iPads on the side. I never noticed any of that during the Fiesta Bowl.
Nah, yeah. Once again, I guess I wasn't really watching for it, but I don't think so. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe someone in the chat has a better idea.
Maybe they didn't want to use that stuff in the New Year's Six bowls. Maybe they wanted to leave that straight kind of traditional.
Yeah, go with what they've been doing all year.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't recall them saying anything about it or noticing anything different. So that's why I was like, I don't recall any of that. And I never saw Bo be like, I can't hear or something like that either. So
Yeah.
So then I guess that's why I was like, Spaz has a great point. Ducks versus them or us versus them. Those videos from the Go Ducks channel. If you guys have not seen that, anyone watching here, probably most people have at least seen one or two. Go watch them. They're great. Oh, is that true? Right here. Both teams had to agree to the electronics. Yeah, again, in the Fiesta Bowl, yeah, it was never brought up, so I don't think they were using it. And I don't know if both teams didn't agree to it or it wasn't, because I know it was just kind of randomly picked. Bowl games would test certain things out or something like that. So, but
no, I do remember now. The problem was they were having communication issues on both sidelines, so they had to scrap them because neither team's communications were working.
Okay.
In the Fiesta Bowl.
Okay, maybe that's part of it. And they were just like, you know what? Yeah, screw it then. Hey, that's possible. I mean, there is always a potential for glitches and issues all the time. I mean, the NFL, I think, has had multiple times where they're like, there's communication issues.
Yeah.
I think that's why college doesn't want to do that, because they're like, it can, because again, if you don't practice signals, then you're screwed. So I think that's, I don't know. I like the signals. I hope they don't go to the in-ear stuff personally. I hope they don't do that, but whatever.
I do like the fact that if they do, the coordinator can talk to the QB for up to like 15 seconds.
Yeah, because in the bowl games that I watched where they said they were using them, they said he could talk to him like literally up to the snap. Or something like that. Like them and the defense could be talked to up to the snap. And that was they were saying that's weird because normally like the NFL is like 10 seconds or something like that, or 15 seconds or whatever. But they were like letting him talk like all the way up till apparently the snap or something like that. Which is weird. Again, maybe it was because people aren't used to hearing it, so they were giving them that little extra leeway. I don't know. I don't know what that policy was or whatever. And why not, John? Because it's college football. It's not the NFL.
He says we want to be different.
Yeah, we don't, and hopefully we don't have to worry about another Connor Stallions. You can thank him for your title, probably.
He says probably.
Who's salty now?
Man, so thankful for Michigan. So
such haters.
Hey, like I said, you call it what it is.
Go
blue, baby.
I just want. I mean, I'll be honest. I know we've had a bunch of people in here. I started a couple comments, so we'll just. Yeah, Dan Lanning appearing on the show, that was kind of interesting. But I get it because he's the only one who's played him twice this year. He's the only one who's faced Washington twice. But I did want Washington to win, despite it being Washington. Just because no matter what, they're going to be like, well, we won the conference and we went to the playoff and you didn't. So it doesn't really matter if they won the title or not. I kind of just wanted the epic ending of the Pac-12 to be like, we just won a national title and the conference is gone. Just kind of like, it would have been the epic storybook ending of the Pac-12 to win the national title. And then it's no more. That was why.
From this show for rooting for the Huskies.
I had no skin in the teeth, no teeth in the game. But I mean, you know, the sense of the storybook type of ending for the conference, that was why. Because it was Washington. But
I think my thing
if it had been fucking USC, I probably still would have said USC. Because now I still have to listen to Michigan fans now rant and rave that they're amazing and shit, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I feel sorry for you next Sunday night.
No, Jesus. No, that show is canceled. John can host that one by himself if he wants to. But, you know, it was more the storybook kind of ending for the conference. That was the main reason.
I think my disdain for Washington is so much greater than my love for the Pac-12. So much greater.
Well, this is actually a fair comment too. This kind of wasn't fitting in for the Pac. Get all the way to the title game and then come up short. That is kind of fitting for the Pac too. So I guess equally, it's kind of. Oh God. Okay. No vague questions here. Best highlights or biggest impressions, improvements, things you like this season about the defense.
The
Ooh.
dismantling of of Mr. Peeing blood himself, Sanders.
Shiloh.
Shiloh Sanders. That was the most epic performance of the year. Just the way we destroyed Colorado.
That's fair. I mean, it was just so glorious, just because of all like the social media smack talk that was leading up to that point. It was obviously, Spaz, you and I, we spend a lot of time on Twitter. I love being in Twitter and seeing, all the shit talk going on there. But man, the Colorado dick riding that was happening in the Twitter sphere was just too much for me. And it was like, it gave me so much satisfaction to watch them get fucking annihilated on the road, especially after, they're stomping on the logo and saying they want to beat everybody's ass and they're small and slow and, whatever the fuck they got to say. But man, that was so satisfying.
Yeah, like Tony said, the speech in that whole moment of that game, that was the highlight, and the low light was the two losses to Washington, especially the conference title game, because we had a shot.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's where I think obviously the biggest area of improvement is like our secondary got torched, and now this is not a dig at our secondary by any stretch. I mean, Washington clearly has a great a great receiving core. There's no doubt about it. They have arguably 2 first-round NFL wide receivers. Michael Penix, a first-round Heisman, runner-up quarterback. They have a great offense, and Michigan did phenomenal last night. But Oregon's safety play was atrocious in both of those games. Bennett Williams got absolutely cooked multiple times. Tyshim got cooked multiple times, and it's like
Manning got cooked multiple times.
And it's like, and at that point I get it. At one point during the first Washington game, we spent 3/4 of the game without Kyrie and Jay Flo on the outside, so that hurt too. We put ourselves at a massive disadvantage there, but that's where I think next year I really hope to see some improvement is that safety play, because if we want to be able to hold like Ohio State, for example, like I don't care who they have on the like their wide receiving core is always deep, always is. They don't rebuild, they retool in their wide receiver room, and it's like if the secondary doesn't get smoothed out real quick and the safety play gets substantially better, we're gonna see it's gonna have to be a shootout, because they're gonna have to go all over our heads with it.
Well, hold on. Did you watch Ohio State's bowl game?
No, mind you, we're seeing a much different team next year as well. It just in terms
I know.
of,
I was like, they don't have a quarterback right now.
Yeah, well, now they do.
Well, they have Aaron Nolan coming.
Yeah, and who was the other one? Who was it?
Oh,
they just had a commit here. It was the dude who they were just talking about going to SC. I think he was the Kansas State quarterback.
Oh, they got Will Howard?
I think so.
Okay, I didn't hear that one. So, but I have to agree with I think pretty much what you guys said. I had to step for a second there. Secondary improvement was huge this year. I'd like to see more takeaways, like more interception. Spaz was like, I'm out.
See Spaz.
The more interceptions, but I think we have to agree that secondary, obviously, a huge improvement this year.
Mm-mm.
And then the sack numbers went up significantly from last year. Now, a lot of that helps when you're sacking, Sanders 5 or 6 times in a game. But, still.
Yeah, That's the one area in my head where I'm like, I am kind of worried is the safeties. I don't worry about Kobe Savage coming in. I really like, what we can see on tape, at least from what he has to offer. Back-to-back second team all Big 12. It's Ty Sheem's spot that I worry about. It's the safety depth that I worry about. And, there's true freshman Aaron Flowers coming in, and they said they expect him to garner some substantial playing time. But once again, it's like, how much do you really want to lean on a freshman? Like, I want to know there's depth there and quality. And that's not something I there's a big question mark behind that. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And at this point, again, though, everyone that people brought in, I mean, how many misses have they had in the transfers? Like maybe a couple?
Not many.
And most of them have been worked out really well. I mean, you could argue Trayshawn Holden hasn't worked out quite, but that's just because of the depth that we've had, And then when he's played, he's been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
He just hasn't had a lot of the playing time, maybe as expected. So
it's hard when you have two wide receivers who are have 80 receptions apiece. It's like
over 1,000 yards, and and each.
They use their running backs in the passing game. The tight ends are very important in the passing game. So, it's like, and then
you've been booted, Spaz. Goodbye.
Oh, he got booted.
Then my internet dropped. I got a storm right now, so.
That happened to me the other night. I was on this other live stream. We were just hanging out, and then they put me full screen, and then I was like, I mean, luckily I had to go to sleep anyways, but I was just like talking, and then all of a sudden it just froze, and I'm like, whoa, did their stream just like drop? And I looked out, my internet box was like off. I was like, okay, that was weird. That was weird.
Yeah, it's because I'm mobile hotspotting right now till tomorrow. My new internet and everything gets hooked up tomorrow. Did you guys have a major storm there today, Ben? Or yesterday?
No, it rained a lot yesterday, but not anything crazy. There was some like tornado warning or something yesterday or something like that, but that happens a lot.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that's what McAfee and those guys were talking about this morning. Because of
it happens a lot, but not usually. There's never anything you worry about. It's just like, okay.
They didn't get out of Houston until like 3:00 this morning. So they were all partying and they're at their hotel rooms getting woke up at like 2:30 to catch their run to the airport. And the guys were passed out where they're banging on their doors and shit, wondering who's gonna make it and who's not.
Oh God.
Yeah, it happens. It's Houston. It's just like any town on the coast. Yeah, it's like any town on the coast between Houston and all of the Gulf of Mexico into Florida and stuff like that. You get all those, not necessarily tornado warnings, but you'll get hurricane alert. All that shit. So I don't even know with the offense what to say, because the offense was so freaking good this year. It's like, I guess the best thing is Will Stein. I mean, I would guess, because how does your offense go literally the best in Oregon history after you had like Chip Kelly, the blur offenses, and Mark Helfrich even, and and some of the Chip OC days, and even some of the Cristobal teams where they were like actually really good. And even last year, and then this year, it's like, still way better. Like average yard per play, everything, better.
And then, I mean, especially considering it's his first year too. It's not like he's had 2-3 years to like figure it out, more or less. Like, he got here and hit the ground running. The offense was, I can't think of a game really where they stalled consistently. I think they finished in the top 3 in points per game this year.
That first Washington game was a little sluggish.
A little bit. Second one, of course, was too. I think the worst sluggish one, like really sluggish, where it was like, was the Texas Tech one. And that was literally his second game as the OC, on the road. So you kind of gave him a little pass on that. and Tech was throwing everything they could, and they still overcame. So
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but there will be no 0 week this year.
so they did get rid of
It got canceled this afternoon. They made it official.
Okay. Well, there went my. Luckily, I didn't take that Hawaii trip next year.
I feel bad for the people who like booked their stuff already for it.
I know.
Yeah, there's a couple of them on Twitter. They were like, "Fuck."
I thought about it. I mean, I've lived in Hawaii. It's fine to visit, not to live. It's fine. But I thought about it. I was like, maybe like a 4-day weekend, fly to Hawaii, and see the Ducks play, and then fly back. Not too bad.
Yeah.
It's like a 7 to 7.5 hour flight. It's not too bad.
Yeah, now you guys just gotta book that flight to Eugene.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, I didn't do the Hawaii one, obviously, so don't have to worry about it. But yeah, for those people, I guess just go enjoy the beaches or something.
We gotta get, if we can pull this off, we gotta get all of us, and maybe we can convince Rogers to come out as well for the Ohio State game. Have a big ass tailgate, do some live pre-gaming, and
I think somehow you're more likely to get the 4 of us in one location than Mark out there. Somehow, I think that's more likely to happen than Mark. Which that alone would be a miracle, actually. Just having the 4 of us somehow be able to manage that would be probably a miracle.
Yeah, especially when we got, Spaz up in Oregon. I'm down in Southern California. We got you and Sean in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on where you're at next year, Derek. Exactly.
I don't even know where in the country I'll be, so.
Right.
I'll still be right here in Texas. But we'll see. We'll see. If it's possible, that'd be great. I wouldn't mind doing that. Or maybe me and Derek could do the Wisconsin game.
Nah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Never been there, driven through it, driven by it, never been there.
Yeah,
so
y'all have fun. It's too fucking cold for me. Especially in November in Camp Randall, no thanks.
Oh yeah, man. It's your toes feel like they're gonna fall off. When you're jumping around in the third quarter, your toes feel like they'll fall off sometimes, especially if you get a night game. But man, it's so fun. It's like I said, the one time I was there in the snowstorm, it was a night game. They're playing Minnesota, and man, it was like my fingers and toes were done skis at halftime, but it was so fun.
Yeah, I was like, just. I mean, having lived like in North Dakota, where it's -30, -35, then you had wind in there, and you're like, holy shit, oh god. But just hearing when you say Wisconsin versus Minnesota, I think everyone shivers. They just think cold immediately, no matter when the game is.
Yeah.
I've been to both their games, at both their stadiums, and both of them you will lose at your toes. So yeah, it's I don't blame Spaz, honestly. It's like you're putting yourself through like voluntary misery,
Yeah, I'll take early October, Ohio State, 70 degrees, Autzen Stadium. Yeah. Take that all day.
So thinking of,
I'll take Ohio State or Michigan in early December in Autzen Stadium, but not out there.
You never know.
So thinking of other highlights, there's not a whole lot to talk about because Lewis is gone now, right?
Correct.
Yes,
He is out of eligibility. I'm like,
yes,
we have eligibility.
We have a 6-star kicker, and Atticus Sappington, who was the kicker at Oregon State, also is transferred here.
All right, so hold on. Let me interject right quick. This is about the 6-star we got. He's coming to punt. He came on Spaces. I don't know if you were in there that day, and he told us he's coming to punt. He said, "I'm not focusing on kicking. I haven't focused on kicking since high school." He's like, I'm coming to punt. So he's the number one punter in the country. That part's correct. We also have a 5-star kicker coming in.
That's the Oregon guy, right?
Yeah, Gage Hirich.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Was
okay,
Gage.
so he's a 5-star kicker. So like kickers are rated a little bit differently, where you got a 6-star who is like it's just the top of their class, and then you got the kicker. So we got him coming in, and then in addition we have Atticus Sappington. So the 6-star, the punting game, he'll be competing with fucking Gabe Doon or whatever his name is. Next year for the
punter is. We only used him like a dozen times all year.
I'm sure you don't have to use him.
Even I was thinking. It was like, my mind just went blank. I'm like, who is our punter even? I'm like,
yeah. Now and then we got Atticus Sappington. I'm ready for that man. That man sounds like he is buckets.
Well, special teams was definitely something of a highlight at the beginning of the season and a low light at the end of the season. Except for the Fiesta Bowl, Lewis he did everything good in the Fiesta Bowl. He did everything good. He made his field goals, or his one field goal and everything, but I still would like to know why the hell they kept kicking it out of bounds all year long. I still would like to know why.
That's the one where I'm like, I want to sit down and just have somebody one time be like, yo, can somebody please be honest about what was going on? Like, why is the ball flying out of bounds? And like once a game, damn near. It was stupid the amount of times they gave up free yardage. And I would love to know what their like logic was there.
The best I can think again is they were trying to directional kicks and it just went, but it's like after 2 or 3 consistently, you think they would go, you know what, scrap that, don't worry about it, just kick it out of the end zone like he had been doing. And then every other game he would kick it out of bounds.
With the kid that kicked one in the Liberty game, Oregon punted. Anybody want to guess number?
Ooh.
How many punts?
4 times.
For the whole year.
Oh, for the whole year?
Yes.
I was thinking just the Fiesta. I was thinking just the Fiesta Bowl was like 4 times, I think. But the whole year, the whole year, 20 to like 30.
I was gonna go like 18.
Ben's closest, 27 punts for the year.
Okay. I was about to say 25, but I was like, I don't know, 25. That seems kind of low. You kind of forget punting plays, unless you get a kickoff return or something. So I was like, okay, that's pretty low. That's a low amount.
Punts in like 14 games. The most we had was 5 in a game.
What was that? Texas Tech?
What game was that? No, that was, believe it or not, it was the Utah game.
Okay. I think that's because, I wouldn't be surprised with 5 punts in a game anyways, because of the fact they called off the dogs so many times, like mid-third quarter.
Okay, so for context, Iowa punted 86 times this year.
Yeah, that's not shocking. Jesus.
Welcome to the new Big Ten.
I mean, no matter what we say, and I don't take this for granted. I know, Oregon fans, you guys will get onto it on game days, especially if you lose or whatever. Oregon has done like no wrong in hiring personnel since when? I mean, even like the Helfrich, he still had a couple good years. Then he had his one abysmal year where he hired Brady Hoke, and everything just fell apart.
I forgot about that.
But that wasn't just Brady Hoke, also that was also Mark Helfrich, I think. But even the Tiger hire, it rebuilt the program that brought Cristobal in, then gave Cristobal the job, then brought in Lanning. Obviously Chip Kelly, and it's like that. Oregon's like nails their hires.
Yeah, especially these last, realistically, I'll give Mario credit. The last, 5 years of Oregon football, it feels like everybody they bring in has just been, what they bargained for and then some, in terms of their, Yeah, your like assistant hires and your coordinator hires and what.
Even OCs, Oregon's nailed the OCs a lot too. Pretty consistently. I mean, again, not just from Dillingham and Stein, but Helfrich had
Washington
promoted
Penix,
Frost.
Will Rogers is the second coming of Penix.
I don't think so, but yeah, I saw that comment earlier. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Will Rogers is good, but will he fit in that system perfectly? But he was in an air raid system with Mike Leach, so and he's like the SEC all-time passing leader. Even after this abysmal last year, he was already the leader. So you never know.
So also is Tulia Tagovailoa too. You know what Maryland.
Joey's like, I ain't giving you my number. Hell no.
He says email
me, bitch.
That's smart.
Yeah, I wouldn't give Spaz your number either. You'll end up in our group chat somehow, Joey.
But yeah,
we've been kind of spoiled as fans the last, especially like probably like 15 years. It's like always been 8675309. There's Joey's number for you. But we've been spoiled as Duck fans for the most part. I mean, obviously it had some rough years, some injuries, and et cetera, a couple rebuild years, but then it's always shot back up pretty quickly. And so we've been spoiled, but Oregon's done a really good job at hiring people and allowing them to run a program. And then, I mean, again, I think we talked about it like a month ago. Look at the balls Oregon had to go, hey, Helfrich, you're out. 2 years removed from going to a national title game. After he'd been the OC for 4 years under Chip Kelly. I mean, that's a ballsy move. To just go, you know what? We're going to take this staff that's been here 20 to 30 years. You're out.
Gutted it.
And just start it over. That's ballsy. That's a ballsy move by any university.
Yeah, you could just feel it. You could feel it. I mean, even the year right after the national championship loss to Ohio State, like you could feel the trajectory of the program going in the complete wrong direction. Like, we hit a point, I think it was like 2016 where the game started, and I was like, yo, how do I really have to sit and watch this entire game? It was that
the Brew Cup year?
It was so fucking bad.
The Brew Cup year. God. Yeah. No, our first game was against like an FCS team, then we hosted Virginia.
Mm-hmm. We started out 2-0.
That was so hard to watch, the Virginia game. I was like, oh my God, what is up with this offense? That was the Lubick year, right? That was Matt Lubick's OC year. It wasn't even him. It was just I don't know what was going. Yeah, that whole that season was that was terrible.
It was garbage. It was, but fortunately that led to Willie Taggart, and I don't think any of us here are a fan of what Willie Taggart did. However, I will say he helped him go from this to this, and then obviously the Mario came in, and that really ascended the program, and now I feel like they're just keeping it running with Dan.
And in all fairness to Taggart, that season got derailed because of a Herbert injury.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that season got derailed, and he did not trust the backup. Who was that still? Who was the backup that year?
Was it Lockie?
Was it still Lockie? I don't think so.
No, Brian Bennett would have been gone.
Yeah, he was long gone.
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you off the top
Lockie
of my head.
was Vernon Adams' backup. So who was the backup for Herbert that year?
Did that lead into Braxton Burmeister?
Maybe.
That's what it was. It was Burmeister. Burmeister was like a redshirt freshman that year, I think, and they would not let him throw the ball. They would not let. They just ran the ball with Royce Freeman like every play, almost after Herbert went down.
Tony, we need to just have you on the panel.
Yeah, I was like, that's what it was, Burmeister. You kind of forget about Burmeister. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a freshman, exactly. He was a redshirt freshman, and they just did not allow him to do anything. So, and yeah, he was not very good. But that kind of derailed that season, because that season was actually on the right trajectory. Then that injury happened, and then it just kind of went.
Yeah.
It just kind of free fell from there. But the same with the next year. Again, Herbert got injured. I think that the second year he had the collarbone hit or whatever that he took. So that derailed the second season, but then we saw the trajectory. So I mean, there have been some rough years, but things that are out of control, out of the coaching control or whatever, to a degree. But yeah, we've been small. Tony, yeah, I had some good pork chops earlier. Actually, I made pork chops tonight.
Ooh.
Well, guys, where do we go from here?
I had something in my head. Now I can't.
On the off season.
Boredom.
Yeah.
Watching us versus them and highlight reels.
Yeah.
Clinging to any little portal recruiting news we can get until the dead period.
Oh God.
Spring ball, May, April.
Late April, right?
In April.
Sometime in there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one personally. I don't even really look forward to the spring game. I mean, it's cool to see some of the talent showcased and such, but it's like that. I can't get myself to get excited for one intramural scrimmage in April/May and then go back to nothing for.
I used to love going to the spring game, man, because you get down there and you get to hang out with the players and coaches, and it's a little more of a fun atmosphere. I haven't been down. Lanning's been coached, so it'd be nice to maybe go down there this year.
I mean, I will say at least with this, you'll get to see. Unfortunately, you only see like 4 or 5 drives, probably. Maybe more though. Maybe more. But you'll see 4 or 5, 6 drives with Gabriel in. Then you'll probably see more. So that would give you a good feel. And I will say this last year, the one thing from the spring game this last year, but that's why it's tough, to read what the spring game means, because this last year I was like, so is the offense having some issues, or is the defense just that improved? And it was more the defense was actually just that much more improved, because last year everyone was like a lot tighter coverage, like all over the receivers. And I was like,
what this year's defense will look like in the spring game. Jesus.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I can't get myself to get happy in the spring game. You see a long touchdown play and you're like, sick. And then you quickly realize that your secondary just gave up a long touchdown play in spring ball. And you're like, God damn it. You know what? You can't win.
Just got torched.
No.
Yeah, it's like.
Right. I'm looking at somebody and I'm like, he's a fucking scrub in April.
Yeah. Just got torched.
So that's why it's like, it's so hard to take away things from it until maybe like later. So like this year, I'm like, okay, that spring game showed our defense was vastly improved. Obviously not amazing, like top tier level or something like that, but vastly improved from where they were. I mean, by far. I would like to see the final rankings. Maybe next week we can also do that with the Big Ten kind of schedule preview. Maybe we can look at kind of like final rankings of all the numbers of like defensive and offensive rankings, just kind of.
And how the AP voted us in a tie with freaking Florida State in the final rankings is blasphemy.
They gave him the respect in the polls that they didn't get at the football playoff committee.
I'm also calling out Mark Rogers. Mark, if you're watching this, the top 25 that really matters, we're below Florida State in his final rankings.
What?
Yeah.
He's just a hater, an absolute hater.
It's because they only had one loss and they won a conference title.
Honestly,
that's why.
I don't have a problem with
calling you out, Mark.
We're below Ohio State too?
No, Ohio State's like 3 or 4 behind us.
Okay, I'll give him that one. I was gonna have to
The
eat
top four in the 25 poll that matters was Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, Florida State, and someone or reverse, and then Georgia, Florida State, and then Oregon. I think.
Surprised you didn't put Missouri above us.
Yeah, I think they were 8th,
hater.
and Ohio State was like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, fair.
So not too bad, but yeah, I was like, I get it, but still calling you out, Mark. He doesn't watch the Oregon shows. He doesn't care.
Nah, he's busy with the USC guys. Fucking Homer.
I'd go over there and troll, but they're so happy about something. I don't know why. They're happy every year.
Who is the dude that they had quarterback? I forgot his name already.
Oh, what was his name? He actually, I was actually impressed. I gave USC credit for their bowl game. I was actually surprised. Their defense showed up pretty well, and their offense. I thought without whatever that drama queen's name is,
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that drama queen. I didn't think they would look.
Isn't that Miller
good.
Moss?
Yeah.
It's Randy Moss's nephew.
Yeah, it's they still look pretty damn good. I will say that. So I gave him full credit after that, after beating Louisville. Because I took Louisville in that game. I was like, nah, USC is not good. They're just packed up for the season.
Well, you know what this means? This means they won just convincingly enough so that when we hit August and the initial polls come out, USC will be ranked just a little bit too high.
Watch, they'll be ahead of us.
Of course they will.
I don't see that quite honestly, but I could see them like a top 12. I could see them being ranked like 11, 13, something like that. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Top 50, definitely top 15.
5-6 preseason ranking at this point.
Yeah. If they were in the top like 8 though, I'd be like, or top 10 in general, I'd be like, what the fuck?
If they're in the top 10, like that's what I'm saying. Like there is a clear just voter bias that takes place. It's kind of like Notre Dame, in all honesty. Every year, they're like, oh, we'll start them at 7. And then, you kind of look at the standings again in like November and you're like, they're at 23. It's just.
It's the same. It's the same. I think most people here would say it's the same as the SEC. They'll be ranked high.
Yep.
So they'll start beating each other, and they're higher ranked. So then they'll be like, "Well, number 10 just beat number 3, so they're now number 4, and the other one's number 5 because it was a 7-point game on the road. It was close." And then other teams start beating. All of them just get bumped up, but no one drops, and then they get stacked. At the top.
You're not a big basketball person, Ben, but number 1 and number 2 in college basketball just went down tonight.
Wow.
Nebraska, Purdue, and Iowa State beat Houston.
Oh damn! I just got done watching the Duke game. I didn't even see that.
They took them all at the same time. Jesus, I think that's a crime.
Yeah.
I won't say what crime that is, but I think the chat can figure it out.
I think it's starting to snow already.
I don't know. Tony, I know here can think about this, and I know he has probably a comment. What was? Let's just ignore Colorado, because I think everyone would agree Colorado beating the actual shit out of Colorado was amazing. That was amazing just to end the hype train, even though it really didn't, but it definitely derailed them. Let's put it that way. Completely derailed them, showed them exactly who they were, and all that stuff. What was, other than that, probably your favorite game of the season for Oregon? Specifically.
I think mine was Utah. And it's like, it's not even because I hate Utah by any stretch. It was just, once again, like the last couple of years we've struggled with Utah. They're always a really well-run program. All they talked about was the home winning streak. It was kind of one of those games where I was like, okay, we're going to see exactly how good Oregon is this week. And they went in there, exceeded expectations, shut Rice Eccles down, and left with a convincing win, and gave us arguably my favorite Ducks versus them video of the season. So it's I thought that game was just phenomenal through and through. I think that was the first.
Mine was spanking that Beaver ass.
Oh, that's fair.
That's fair. You know, I have to kind of go with Utah also. It is tough. I want to say USC, if we hadn't allowed that last kind of late touchdown, I think it would have been the USC one. But the Beavers was a sweet revenge game. But the way that they did it to Utah at Utah also was pretty sweet, since no one had done it there in so long.
With college,
beating them, let alone just spanked them. So, we had the Utah people on here, the Utah Football Fans podcast here on YouTube. I still check them out. I still watch them. I go troll them once in a while. I'll just say quack quack, and they're like, "Get out of here, Ben." I'm like, "Get out of here," because they know exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm just saying hi. The nice people. Yeah, nice people, great people. But
I've had him and Bryn both in a couple of spaces here and there.
Yeah, it was like great guys over there, great people. But their videos afterwards are going, Jesus. It's like, it's so good, because that was not how I saw that game going at all.
Yeah.
Or the Beavers game. So at
was
the
it like
same time,
31-6 at half or some shit?
something like that. Yeah, 31-6, and then it ended 38-6 or something, or 41-6 or something by the end of it.
mm-hmm.
They just stopped mid third quarter. They were like, yeah, okay, we're done.
Yeah, that was about as thorough of a game as they played all year. Like, that was the first game where I was like, the defense is like real. It was pretty cool.
The USC one was pretty sweet too, just to put like a total death nail in their season, basically.
Yeah.
Especially after they literally could have been 5-7, not 7-5. Very easily. Very easily. So it was a worst game of the season. Then again, too, I could almost say the sweetest game of the year. I almost want to change it to the Texas Tech one. Maybe that's because I was there for that one. That was just to be able to then look at all the Oregon fans. Literally, 3 people over and across the aisle were a lot of the student sections. And every time something happened, they're like, "You can't do that," at us, like all the penalties. And then when it would go right for us, like the pick six, we were looking at them like, "Bye." Bye.
Goodbye.
Go home. Bye. All the Duck fans to them, and they were like,
"Nice drive. I'll have a wonderful flight."
If I hadn't had to walk back to the Airbnb, the 4.5 miles, that probably would have been it for me. But that 4.5 mile walk to the post game show with you guys, that kind of killed that night.
Oh yeah,
that one kind of killed that night for me.
Almost there. Almost.
Yeah, I was like, my signal sucks. It won't send messages. Almost there.
I remember the first one. He said, "I'm not too far." It was like another 45 minutes, and I'm like, Jesus.
Because I was like, I'm gonna get an Uber when I get away from the stadium. No. Hell no. Uber, Lyft, nothing. There was nothing available. I was like, this is some bullshit. Obviously, the most painful game of the season. I don't know if that was it was obviously one of the Washington games. I'm not sure which was worse.
Got to be the championship game. Just because, with that, it was the final nail where we don't get a playoff berth. We don't get a conference championship. We got beat a second time on a neutral field. That one, man, that one had me in shambles for 2 days.
I think that's fair. I think especially the championship level, to not finish it with the final Pac-12 title. I think, I could agree with that. The first one, though, to have the opportunity to tie it to go to overtime was almost, it was in a sense worse because we had the opportunity to tie it, and that broke Camden Lewis for like the rest of the season. I mean, that broke him.
It did. It definitely did.
I don't know. What do you think, Tony? I know Tony's still here somewhere. I mean, they were both tough. They were both very, very tough. And they both happened in the same fashion of kind of like slow start, get behind, take the lead, lose it.
That's it.
They both kind of happened in the same fashion, too. It was like...
that's what made it worse. I think grabbing the lead in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and just knowing you pissed it away twice. Yeah, it chaps my ass.
Is there any other news or notes, highlights, or any other commentary maybe about the season you want to go over? I'm trying to think of anything off the top of my head. To the chat, we're just kind of winging this show. Very professional of us. We are the most professional host you will find on YouTube.
That's facts.
And the voice of college football. We are by far the most professional.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I feel like we were pretty touched on everything a little bit at some point throughout the show.
Yeah, I think a lot more than I was even planning to cover in certain areas and everything that even discussed. Yeah, again, to the chat too, and we've discussed in, off screen, we are going to wind down the live show. Right now, we're going to be here live every Tuesday night right here on the Oregon channel. Let me see it. The plan is every Tuesday night as normal, 9 p.m. Central, 7 Pacific, for about 2 to 3 more weeks. And then we're going to kind of wind it down, especially because, of course, the off season is here. It's a dead space. Otherwise, we're just going to be literally sitting here mocking Spaz the whole show. And that's all we're going to be doing. So what we're going to try to do is then go once monthly and such like that for everyone. But for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be here talking Oregon football. But yeah, again, the off season sucks. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, it's truly the worst, man. It's like, I mean, I know you guys aren't as much into it. I get to look forward to baseball season. That helps me get to September typically, but man, it's such a long off season for college football.
Have you been to Des Ravine, Derek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went and watched the Braves and the Dodgers there.
I've heard nothing but horror stories about getting to that fucking stadium and getting out of there.
Oh, I mean, mind you, I saw it was a pretty marquee game against the Braves, and it was nothing crazy.
I've heard it's hurt as hell because it's just up on that hill and traffic getting to and out of there is a nightmare.
I mean, all Los Angeles traffic is ass. Every time I have to go into LA, it sucks regardless. So, I mean, it was just another day of sucky driving,
It's similar though. It's like Houston. I've gone to not Energy. Sorry, that's the Texans. I've been to Minute Maid Park, see the Astros before too. I think anytime around any sort of pro stadium is a shit show.
Yeah,
most likely.
Yeah, Seattle's the same way. If I go up to do a Mariners game, it's like fuck.
Yeah,
I don't even drive into Seattle anymore. I go to a weekend game. I drive to Tacoma. I get a hotel, and I take the fucking train from Tacoma right to the Seattle and hop the little scooter.
Yeah. See, that's what I did. The last time I was there was the last time Oregon beat Washington. Was Anthony Brown and Devin Williams, in Washington. in Montlake, and I got to go to that game. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I wasn't driving. Not a chance in hell. I jumped on the subway. I rode it all the way from Tacoma up to Montlake. Rode it right back down to the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal. And that's the one good thing for them, though. They get to watch other sports, whereas me, I'm like, college football season's over? Yeah, screw it. I'm out. I just tune out. I don't watch NFL hardly. I don't watch even the Super Bowl. I'm like, I might like tune into it a little bit, but I'm like not invested. I'm like, meh, whatever.
That's fair. I'll latch onto Oregon baseball season in the spring.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch some stuff if I think about it or see the schedule, but I don't go actively search for it. It's just it doesn't do a
Oregon's
whole lot.
basketball this year is going to be good once we get healthy again.
I'm hoping to go to the UCLA game, UCLA or Oregon at UCLA. That's only like
right on.
I think it's 45 minutes from the house. So I'm gonna try to go to that game here next month.
Yeah, we should be healthy by then.
Yeah, I don't watch the basketball because no matter how good they're doing, I think I've told you before. If I watch a game, they lose.
Yeah, man.
I apologize immediately to the fan base. Like, I'm sorry. I watched the game.
Yeah, no, the trend this year is somebody gets hurt. So Ben, if you turn on the game, I promise you someone's getting hurt.
I haven't this year yet, so it's not my fault. Must be someone else. Damn, Sean.
But we're gonna be good. We're gonna be our basketball team's gonna be competitive when the time's right this year. Come March, this team's gonna be solid. We're already 11-3 and not even ranked in the top 40. I'm like, you got teams with 4 losses in the ranked in the top 25. I'm like, where the fuck is Oregon ranked? Dana Altman's one of the best basketball coaches in the country.
Oregon, the thing I think that is Oregon's bad losses are bad losses. They have 2 of them in particular that are bad losses to have on your schedule. I don't know. That's a whole.
That's why the basketball thing doesn't. It just doesn't mix because I'm like you play all these games, then you'll have maybe a couple bad losses, but other teams will have these even more losses, and yet you're nowhere near touching them. But I mean, I get it, bad losses, but really, all that matters is the tournaments, anyways.
Yep,
that's really all that matters.
I did
for the seeding and all that.
I did go to a tournament game a couple years ago. That was fun to experience the NCAA tournament. Got to watch a morning session with like four games. That was awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, Spaz, do you have any follow-up for the football team? Highlights, news, comments, thoughts, anything like that?
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. And the future's bright. The future's bright. And Dan Lanning and Tosh Lapoy have this team on an upward trajectory, trending for a top 4 spot next year is my hope.
Oops. That's what I want to do.
Sorry. I want to get one of those bye week games and
have a game at Autzen.
Game at Autzen, yeah.
We're going to bring up his name again. I had to correct that ticker there. I noticed that last show and I didn't correct it. But again, shout out obviously to the finale for Bo Nix, all-time leader in passing yards and touchdown in Oregon history for a season. That was what was missing last time, was a season. Not all-time completely, but in a season. And the setting the FBS passing completion percentage record. And again, the only FBS player with 55 plus touchdowns responsible for at 2 different schools, like Power 5 schools. Not too shabby of a career.
No.
We love us some Bo.
Why does it say Box Nix? Spaz, stop screwing with my ticker.
I have no idea.
Did it say that the whole last show?
I just noticed it right now.
I know. I just noticed it too. I've read it like 5 times. I didn't even notice that it was. Jesus. I gotta stop drinking. I gotta stop drinking so much. But hey, who knows? Maybe Gabriel can set the new passing record next year for a season.
He should have the weapons to do it.
Maybe we'll see. Different competition, different conference, obviously. So we don't know what to expect, but who knows?
We shall find out.
All right, guys. Same time next week.
Yeah, you don't call the shots around here. Everyone, please tell everyone where they can find you online if they want to stalk you.
Or right there. Twitter. Wait, who's Derek? I'm pretty active on Twitter. I like to creep in the backgrounds. It's cool answering some DMs, talking to some of you guys. So always appreciate a good follow.
Here we go. Let's see. Nope, already fucked up. Already screwed that up. There you go.
Hey, it only took me 5 times.
It's taking you like a whole season.
Yep. Still can't get it right. That's why they call me the Spaz.
You ain't lying, brother.
I'll have gear out soon. I'm gonna get on the boys college football and get some gear out.
There you go. I'm just Ben here of Exploring Ben and Sam. Check us out here on YouTube. New stuff's coming out finally. Now I have my PC back. It's all set up. Now I can start rehashing all the editing. Check out on Twitter. I don't do shit on there, but Exploring with Ben and all the other social medias. And they're all linked through the YouTube, so you can just find me there. If you haven't, please do hit the like button and consider subscribing. Share this out. Helps a lot. You can also find me on Sunday nights for the next few weeks on the main channel for College Football After Dark. Sometimes with Spaz if he decides to show up. Usually he doesn't lately. He's too spazzed out.
Yeah.
This week will be just Michigan. Yeah. So I won't even be. He might show up. I don't know. We'll see.
I saw him in a couple weeks ago, but was he in last week?
Yes.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
USC won.
He's in for the last couple weeks.
USC won their last game, so you can get on and start pumping them up now, of course.
Well,
Typical
everyone, once again, thank you for joining us, the Oregon Ducks Live, right here on the Oregon Channel, Voice of College Football. And again, yes, the plan is for the next 2 to 3 weeks, right here, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Central, 7 Pacific. And then we'll start winding it down kind of for the off season. But we will see you there. So please make sure to join us next week right here as we keep talking Ducks. And next week we're going to preview. Next time we're going to, was that?
Said hit that like button.
No, definitely do that. Next week we'll be doing the Big Ten preview, kind of like previewing the Big Ten season, the schedule and stuff, especially since they just got rid of week 0. I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll talk about it next week and we'll figure it out and what expectations could be, because it's going to be interesting. Again, it still hasn't really hit. This is not clicked. This is our reality now. But what are you going to do? All right, everyone. We will see you next week. Thank you for joining in. And see you guys next week and have a great rest of your week. And we're out.